Bathanti has published several books of poetry in the 1980s and into the 1990s, beginning with Communion Partners in 1986, followed by Anson County in 1989, The Feast of All Saints in 1994, and This Metal in 1996, which was nominated for the National Book Award and won the 1997 Oscar Young Award from the North Carolina Poetry Council. His first novel, East Liberty, was published in 2001, and his second novel, Coventry, in 2006. Coventry received the Bronze Award for the Best Novel from the Independent Publisher Book Awards. The High Heart, a collection of short stories, was the 2007 winner of the Spokane Prize for Short Fiction. His book of nonfiction, They Changed the State, The Legacy of North Carolina's Visiting Artists, 1971 to 1995, was published in 2007. Joseph Bathanti is the twice winner of artistic fellowships from the North Carolina Arts Council. His collection of poems, The Land of Amnesia, was published in 2009, and his new collection of poems, Restoring Sacred Art, and I wrote will be published later this year by Star Cloud Press, but it's in his hands, or on the table as we speak, and it's available now. Joseph.
Really an honor to be in my home state. I forget that it's my home state because my identity is so closely tied in with Pittsburgh. But it's wonderful to be recognized here in Pennsylvania. And the hospitality of the Pennsylvania Center for the book was fabulous before I even got here, much less now that I'm here. So thank you, all of you. Carolyn was just wonderful, and Stephen was wonderful, and Bill's generous introduction. The design of the posters, just fabulous. So it's just really terrific to be on Penn State's campus. I mentioned to Bill on the way over here, the last time I was here was, I think, in 1972 in a dormitory, and then a fraternity party. So this is different. I didn't know there were academic buildings here. And it's really nice to share a stage with Eleanor Wilner, too, who I can tell you everyone at Warren Wilson when I was there felt that she was beatific, and she is. So it's really good to be here. I'll start by reading the poem that was chosen for the poster. It's called Nacht. And it's really about, it's a true story. It's about my dad, who was a steel worker at Edgar Thomson Steel Works in Braddock, PA, which is the very first steel mill that Andrew Carnegie opened in the United States. And the story tells itself, but I really, my sister and I, my sister's in the audience, Marie Reese, and my great nephew, Joshua Reese, is here too, so I'm really glad. This is about his great-grandfather. My sister and I were more or less protected or kept oblivious about really what our dad did for a living. We knew he was a steel worker. I had no idea really what that was. And he never talked about it. And he was truly, I mean, I don't think I'm over-sentimentalizing him when I say he was just about the most wonderful father, especially a boy like me could have had. This is called Nacht. I was 17 before I saw Edgar Thomson, the steel mill where my father had worked since he was 17. And only then, because I needed his car for the senior after prom picnic. The theme was Color My World. Sleepless, having danced all night, a furnace of cheap champagne, and still in my tuxedo, I dropped him off at 7 a.m. in Braddock, named for a Revolutionary War general, 3 bars in every block, street lights turned on in the afternoon so the school kids could see their ways home through the ore dust. The mill was blue and corrugated, rising in shaft after shaft of smoke that saw-toothed into gray sky. I never saw its top. The men in the boom crane cabs wore hard hats and drank coffee. They had it knocked, my father said, but not him. He had to climb the backs of those monsters. When I was little and insisted I wanted to be like him and work in the mill, he'd snap, "No, you're not. You're going to college." In a few months, I really would be going to college. Working in a steel mill was the last thing I wanted to do. My father eased out of the car, handed me a 20, told me to be careful, pinned on his millwright's badge, and filed into the smoke with the others. I turned up the radio, dropped the engine into low for torque, and floored it. Sure that in one night I had had more fun, more love, more everything than he had had in his life. And I wanted to get back to it as fast as I could. I did something I never do, ever. I marked the pages from the poems I would read from, and I still can't find them. This is called The Electrifying Vernacular of Escape. It's for my sister Marie, who's here. My sister was just a committed reader when we were kids. She just read and read and read and read and read all the time. And I just remember always reading. And my mother was just undone by the fact that my sister was reading all the time. It just harped all the time at her that all you do is read, all you do is read. And this kind of commemorates that antipathy. As a girl, Marie read so much my mother branded her lazy, a withering accusation in our house of ceaseless toil. In her way, Mother was a Calvinist. She believed in mortifying the flesh, denaturing will. Work took your mind off things. It's nothing, she liked to say of our discomfort. Just thank God you have arms and legs. Each page Marie turned, each flight of make-believe described a stray footprint on the carpet, a dirty saucer on the sideboard, the newspaper left over long on the ottoman. Words possessed a focused untidiness, immodest, black as Negroes, violating the pristine doily of the page. My sister, pale, bespectacled, disarrayed across her bed, a book like an infant splayed in her arm, terrified my mother, as if in her incessant reading she had authored Mother against her will, cursed in unforgivable lash to keeping a house where words like mice burst from the woodwork, tumbled among the silver, dropping behind them the punctuation of regret, the bitter trope of memory. Adhering to vows of silence and obedience, Marie said nothing. She would close her book, clip its place with a holy card of the Virgin, pressed dutifully through the house like a captive forced to char, scouring porcelain, mopping linoleum, redding soiled linen from the beds, whatever homage the raised octaves of my mother required. Yet that book, like a forbidden lover, whispered from its hiding place, luring her back to it with promises of seduction and danger, the electrifying vernacular of escape. It was just a matter of time before she slipped into its pages and disappeared. And certainly, since I have her in the audience, I'll read another one from my sister. This is called You're Leaving. Y-O-U-R. And it's my sister's, I mean, it's really the night before my sister got married and then her wedding day. And it's dedicated for Maria. The night before you married, Pap's godsons from Detroit got him drunk. And I had to help wrangle them upstairs, so mad I threatened to punch them. Married men, cement finishers with mortar gray hands who spoke broken English with Michigan accents. They wore Bermuda shorts, undershirts, black socks, and tennis loafers. My outrage made them laugh. A father marrying off his only daughter, his best girl after all, is entitled on the eve of the wedding to drink as much as he wants. Pap laughed too, but he felt sorry for me. Like them, he figured I was still innocent. We laid him in my bed. Mother wouldn't sleep with him, stupid drunk, the night before his daughter's wedding. She blinked the porch light off and on to signal you in from kissing your fiancé in his red MG, the first Protestant to marry into the family. No wonder Pap got drunk. It was your last night home. Your bridesmaids slept over, cosmetic kits and high-spun hair, spit curls scotch taped to their cheeks, rustling aqua gowns lounging from the mantel on cloth hangers. The 6 of you stayed up all night in moo-moos, laughing and eating popcorn. Downtown, the groom and his ushers cheered the strippers at the Edison Hotel. I had nowhere to sleep, so I crawled into your empty bed and began my apprenticeship as an only child. The next day, Pap got up and donned his morning suit. The girls descended the porch steps in single file, heads bowed over nosegays, as the photographer stilled each for posterity, and you, only 20, behind them, without hesitation, disguised in wedding dress and veil, perfect in all the ways a bride desires to be, the repeated click of the camera, documenting those first irrevocable seconds of your leaving once and for all, while upstairs Mother sat on the edge of her bed, still in a house dress. I'll read 2 more. This next one's called Wheeling. Pittsburgh's very close to Wheeling, West Virginia, and the drinking age in Wheeling was 18. So we would make these clandestine voyages to Wheeling. And one time, I borrowed one of my friend's cars, took a girl down there that I liked a lot, and things didn't go as planned. The poem, I think, fills those blanks in. Wheeling. Driving a girl whose father loathed me, son of an Italian who labored on the open hearth, I crossed in a borrowed green Comet the PA line into Wheeling. 18 was legal in West Virginia, Marlboros and 3-2 beer at the hilltop on a street with whorehouses and a Jesuit college. She was 16, a minor, the true minor, secreted in black, sulphurous pockets, whispering beneath the tavern floor we sat upon. The jukebox was loud and country. It was easy to ignore the charge being laced under us. My girl was drunk and singing along Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, though she didn't know the words. The way folks mouth like speaking in tongues when the spirit lays hold of them. A smudge on her cheek, second-hand coat, her blonde hair shone white in that light, aged into a coal miner's wife, or a steel worker's like my mother. When the 4 to 12 shift from Wheeling, Pittsburgh dragged in, I smelled asbestos and baked ore, the vaporous green sizzle of my father's work fatigues. I wanted to tell her all about her father. I'd rip him to pieces, that bastard. My dad was a brave man. He climbed boom cranes with nothing but a span of leather fastening him above the smokestacks, streaming 12 stories of fire into the firmament. But I had no vocabulary to render his mythic toil. I knew more about her dad, his suits in office in downtown Pittsburgh, his perfect diction and college education. We hung around till last call, then kissed against the fender until the lot emptied and the hilltop's neon shingle sputtered out. The Comet wouldn't start. I turned it over and over until I killed the battery, till I couldn't get a peep out of the horn or the lights to flicker. The mighty Ohio beat by, whelped in Pittsburgh, it loops north in defiance of gravity, abruptly slices west, southering into the fang of northern West Virginia that impales the border of Ohio and Pennsylvania like the long, jagged neck of a busted bottle. That's where we stood clinging to each other, stranded along the omniscient river, where I still like to think of us, before those miners, like escaped purgatorians, burst black and smoldering through the bottoms of our lives, and she started to cry, anticipating her father's patrician wrath. I thought of who I could call, knowing there was only one man on earth who would rise out of his exhausted sleep at the sound of my voice like Lazarus and come running. And then I'll end with a really short poem called My Father's Hat. And again, I really can't tell you what an honor this is to be here reading these poems. And just, you know, the poster actually has a dedication like that. Got a good dad. My father's hat. My father owned a soft brown fedora. As a child, I loved to smell the inside of it. The satin-lined crown with its coat of arms, two winged griffins clutching between them a shield flourished with New York, against which crested the roof of his head, then sealed with glassy batting, as if chambered within lay a secret reliquary, the eye teeth of Aquinas, the still beating heart of Thomas of Becket. Something secret tithing me as my father's son to this sacred hat. Thank you so much.